Greetings, bloodbags, and welcome to TUSOP's terrifying takeover of the spookiest month of the year. Vamptober is dead and gone, but it has risen from its grave with an insatiable thirst for blood and a month of vampire stories. So grab your garlic and your crucifixes and prepare yourself for Vamptober.
Hello, all of my blood-lusting paranormal freaks out there. It is I, Golden J, hanging out with
the rocker chick
and
J-Dub
and
just Logan.
It's just Logan.
Yeah. How's everybody doing?
We are absolutely wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that, right?
Sure.
It's a Wednesday night per recording, and it's just been a glorious, fantastic fucking day.
Has it?
You betcha.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Enthusiasm sounds a little manufactured, but whatever.
Listen. My morning was a little rough. It was a little busy this morning. I seemed to get every stoplight and had a van full of stuff that I don't normally deliver. And it is what it is. It was a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fair. I mowed and then I had deliveries too. So
you mowed?
Yeah.
Oh God, I probably ought to do that also.
Yeah,
grass is super high, and we've got corporate coming to count our inventory next Tuesday. So.
The dreaded inventory.
Hey, listen, it's all counted. I did my part. Now the boss man has to walk a corporate person through there and count stuff. Hands off for me. I just got to make it to next Wednesday, and then I'm on vacation. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys are doing the Renaissance festival. Is it a festival?
Yeah, it's the Texas one. It's the biggest Renaissance festival in the United States.
Right on.
Yeah, it's cool. It's all built up. All the structures are out there are permanent. So they have all these buildings and taverns, and it really it's like walking like into medieval times, just minus all the plague and whatnot. It's really if like you ever come to visit, when you do come to visit, that would be anytime from November to I think not November,
October. Before
October too, actually. All the way till the end of December it runs, and they do every week they have a special theme. So this week when we go is All Hallows Eve, so it's all Halloweened up, and then the weekend after that is like Barbarian, and then they'll have like Pirate Weekend, which people love Pirate Weekend.
I love to be talking like a pirate.
That's actually a pretty decent pirate boy.
But I spent one pirate talk like a pirate day. This has been years ago, with a little pirate hat that said Captain Mudbutt. Like, I be Captain Mudbutt. It was a very fun and long day. But yeah, I talked like that all fucking day.
Yeah, but the problem is when you talk, from like doing voice acting work and everything, when you talk a certain way forever, doing stuff, like you get stuck in it and for a little bit afterwards, and it's god awful.
It's true. I used to spend a lot of time working on my Russell Brand impression, like, hello.
I'm sorry, Bobbi.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm out of Snow the rock star.
No, good lord. But camping's the best part out there, because camping is insane. They've been doing it since like the early 70s. And it's like the thing that brings all the money to the town. So, cops and nobody messes with anybody out there. So it's just wild. It's fun.
Well, you said there's taverns and stuff all the way around there. So basically you just walk around with your big old pint of ale, huh?
Well, it's actually the campground is on the property, but it's separated because they don't want drunken campers going into the festival place at night. But there's clans that have been there so long that have permanent structures built. Like this one camp is called Call of Booty,
Oh, yeah.
and
Nice.
they do naked Jenga as their thing. They have these giant Jenga blocks, and it's like they light a giant fire, and like they have this whole section built off, and then there's all sorts of wacky camps out there. Like anything you could think of, it's out there. There's one called Nottingham, and that's like a weird S&M camp. So it's crazy. It gets wild out there.
Listen, this might be something that I would like to go see. I'd like to see naked Jenga. Wait,
Hey,
is that
it's-
like the point where the nakedness you want to see is not the nakedness you're gonna see?
It's a grab bag, you know. You never know what you're gonna get.
Surprise.
Yeah, and there's nothing like getting flogged by a stranger. So you know, we're ready for it. It's
Alrighty
exciting.
then. So we are here in Vamptober. This is the actual final episode. We are going to have a chiller filler on Halloween for you guys.
Yep.
Plus, don't forget this coming Saturday, the other side with me and Logan talking about Vamptober.
Yeah. So really, there's still a lot of vampire content.
There's
here to come.
still a ton left. And then of course, we'll be back to on November 1st, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program of cryptid, creepy, and paranormal. I do believe that's your episode, isn't it? Yeah. So I hope you guys are enjoying Vamptober. I know that I've listened back, I live them, I record them, I edit them, I still listen to them, and I enjoy them every time. I still laugh at some of the stupid shit that the rocker chick says, but it's just a good time.
Oh please! I listened to the rocker chicks today. It was good. While I was mowing, is what I was listening to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you find that it was a nice, calm, like ready for audible type voice?
Yeah, and I came away with a whole different take than you and J-Dub. Like I didn't think the father vibes didn't come to me. Like that guy gave me like creepy spirit away your kid kind of vibes, not like dad vibes. And I think that kid was something else entirely. And I think that's why the vampire liked him so much. That kid was giving off like weird, like fae vibes, talking to animals and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
I think that's why he was so attracted to him.
There's a lot of different takes to I think you could go with, and when in the final bit you just kind of ponder it for a long time.
Yeah.
So I forget what we were talking about at one point. I'm like, why didn't I say when we were talking about what vampires do in their coffin when they're during the day, what are they doing? And you're like, oh, they're coloring. And I was like, how come I didn't say they did like the Where's Waldo book.
I Spy.
How are they seeing shit in there to do any of that?
Well, don't they have night vision?
And probably.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Night vision. I imagine coloring with night vision would be tough.
Everything's green.
Yeah.
Or their night vision is like our day vision.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is true. I've never been a vampire before, so I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
I like to think like the fancier vampires like have a whole mausoleum so they can like see and stuff still.
Yeah, that would
That's
be
like if you got to pick out real estate,
Yeah.
Well, that when I finally head to the other side, I'm getting a mausoleum out back.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, right out there by the volleyball court. I'm going to get a mausoleum. It's going to have electricity and direct TV and internet.
For who?
For me.
Okay. They're just going to roast me and throw me in a coffee can. That's
Yeah.
all said and done.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, I've got a Megazord up there that I love. It's a carrier Zord. It opens up. It's a toy. And they're just going to put me in a coffee can and slap me in that. I've got spare parts for it. So if something breaks, my kids or grandkids can slap a new part on it. We keep on trucking.
J-Dub, is that what you want then too?
Yeah. I don't want anything special.
Yeah.
Do you have like a special
box.
can picked out or something?
No.
It's a bucket.
Yeah.
From low.
TSC bucket or something.
You want a KFC bucket?
Put on it.
TSC.
Yeah, just bedazzle
KFC would be better. Too.
Ooh.
Think about that one for a minute. A KFC bucket. I mean, do you actually clean it out, or is it still got some chicken remnants
It's
in
got
it?
some chicken in
Yeah,
it.
it's still gonna smell like chicken.
Oh, man.
Did you ask who was going to build it?
Yeah.
And I pointed at Bobby
Well, who's gonna
Oh,
hold-
that's what you were
because she
doing.
builds everything.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
who's gonna hold her measuring tape?
The
Her new
ghost,
fucking boyfriend? What are you talking about?
the ghost of Golden Jay.
Oh, I'm just saying, her new boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty replaceable right away. I'm just saying.
Whatever.
Whatever.
You're awful.
Oh, would you mourn me for a long period of time?
I sure would.
What kind
Like,
of
how
question
long?
is that?
Yeah.
How long?
I don't know.
I don't know. Would it be like days or years?
Probably years.
Would it be years?
Yeah.
Aw.
On the bright side, you never shut your mouth and you record it all. So anytime she misses you, she can just turn it on.
Yeah.
Any one of them out of the 12 podcasts you're on, she just has to pick one.
That's true. Oh god.
So she's good.
Yeah, what do I want? Do I want paranormal Jeremy, or do I want murder Jeremy, or do I want review Jeremy?
Why'd you say review Jeremy with that voice?
Review Jeremy. Well, she more than likely will just pick Chiefs Jeremy because then because I talk about Travis Kelce so much, and that's what makes her actually happy. Somebody who's upset about this whole Swiftie thing, that's the rocker chick. She just she's so upset about it. She can't believe that she missed her opportunity.
Sure am.
I don't
I
keep
think he's
up
a little
with,
too young for me.
I don't keep up with sports ball. So the only reason I know that that's even a thing is because they mentioned it on Saturday Night Live last week. With my boy Pete Davidson on it.
Dude, that was fucking hilarious. Did you guys catch that? That whole deal with the Sports Center and Pete Davis. They flashed Pete Davidson at the Philadelphia game, and he's all dressed in pink and like, she's not here. She's not here.
That's funny.
And Keenan Thompson is playing Jim Brown, the leader, and Howie and Jimmy Johnson and all them are still like, well, we've got our friendship bracelets, and I mean it's a whole fucking shebang. And they go, finally, we're going to go out and talk to somebody who wants to actually talk football. And they flash over, and it's Travis Kelce. And he goes, that's me. Oh, I'm looking for, we didn't, let me ask you this.
Ruh-roh.
We didn't, anybody bring one of
I
those?
did.
Did
Oh.
you really?
Yeah.
Save the
Shit,
day.
I'll quit looking.
I
You,
got a couple of them.
all right. Well, what do you got for me?
Let me ask you this. I want each of you to tell me one animal that a vampire can turn into. Let's start with J-Dub.
That they can or that I would like them to.
No, that they can. That you
I bet.
I knew it. You stole mine.
check.
You have a
Logan.
checklist?
A wolf.
Check.
You stole mine.
Jeremy.
The wolf and a bat and a crow.
That wasn't on my list.
Damn it, a squirrel.
That wasn't on my
Damn it.
list.
Feel like I'm taking a heavy shit here.
It sounds like it.
Something that you hate but bigger.
A rat.
Yes.
Real?
I hate
Yes.
mice. I fucking hate mice.
Pick a ram.
There were 3 other things on the list, and that was an owl,
See, I was gonna say owl, but I was
Sure.
no, I
a
really was.
fox, and a moth.
A moth.
A moth.
Well, you just smack him.
I know, right?
You could have said David Boreanaz, Jeremy. You missed the opportunity there. You could have said that.
Yeah, well, David Boreanaz is a fucking puppet. in Angel was the best episode ever.
You mean Smile Time?
Yes. I love that episode. One of my favorites. Do you ever did a Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel? See,
No.
we grew up on that.
Grew up on it. You're already adult. I grew up on it.
he's not wrong. But when they made the transfer over, then Angel went on to LA, I think, right?
Yeah.
And one episode he got turned into a puppet. So here's David Boreanaz as Angel as a fucking puppet, and it was the best episode ever.
Full Muppet. It was great. It was fantastic.
You need to really go back and watch like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel because Buffy had some amazing episodes.
Yeah.
I've been going on a big kick, and I'll get into it in Chiller Filler, but I've been going on a big kick with Buffy just because all the vampire talk and everything. So
yeah, that's it's always good to go back to Buffy. I don't yeah, we're doing some adjusting here. Sorry. Keep getting this little funky sound in our headphones, but it'll be all right. It'll be fine.
I would have thought they would have changed into like a snake or a serpent or something.
That wasn't on there, but
all like nocturnal creatures though.
Yeah.
Owls, moth. I've never heard the moth thing. Like the big ones I've heard is the rat, the wolf, and of course the bat.
Bat's the obvious one. I was like, pick me first. I'm gonna say bat.
I know the answer.
Well, as soon as she pointed at me, all I could think of was Hotel Transylvania when he's like, I'm a bat.
I do not say blah blah blah.
Blah 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 blah.
Damn, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again. It's been a minute. I haven't watched the second. Isn't there like a third one also?
The last one, Adam Sandler and homeboy that plays Paul Blart don't come back to voice. So,
Kevin
James. Yeah, they don't come back to voice them in the last movie because they had some kind of dispute with Sony or something like that. So,
their whole Netflix deal didn't work out right, huh?
Well, no, I think it might have had something to do with the Netflix deal because it was Sony that he had beef with. So.
Right on.
Who knows? Somebody wanted me to do a cartoon. I wouldn't argue with them.
All right. So are we ready to get into this story today?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give it my best. It's been a while on the research end, on the case part of it and everything. I've written down some research because like there was another case I wanted to do and that's been done for a while, but we'll see how I do.
All right. We're excited in all ears. Do we get to make fun of the way Matt and Boze used to?
Oh, I mean, that's the only way I'm going to feel comfortable.
All right, J-Dub, you're up. Go get him.
You get to be the maker.
You get to make fun of him.
Okay. Don't suck any words up or anybody's names.
Ooh, no, that's going to happen. That's absolutely going to happen. I'm going to trip over my own writing and everything too. So I got to multitask here. So we'll see how it goes. But this week, my case is going to be about the New England vampire panic and the case of Mercy Brown. Has anybody ever heard of Mercy Brown?
Yes.
See, look at that. See, if this was Matt and Boze, they'd be like, no.
I was going to say no.
We're cool.
I was going to say no. I don't know. I'm about to
look. A liar. You know.
Mercy Brown?
You don't know.
I'm about to find out.
All right.
You are about to find out, but you're going to find out a few more things before we get to Mercy. All right. So what we got here is tucked away in the deep woods of Exeter, Rhode Island. Now, remember that name because it's going to pop up a lot in a bunch of different cases. Is a small cemetery about 50 square foot containing 25 graves. And underneath one of those unmarked graves lays to rest Sarah Tillinghast, a young woman who was said to meet her end at the hands of a vampire. Now, do you guys like what we know as vampires nowadays is the whole fangs, the sucking of blood and everything.
Oh, and the sparkle.
No, that's your vampire. That's not my vampires. My vampires don't spark. My vampires can't go out in the sun.
Oh, sorry.
Sparkle. But back then, the vampire was more often than not basically a spirit that was haunting people. and draining them of their. Basically, it was a spirit that would leave a corpse, go out and do the blood sucking, and then come back and to the corpse's body. So the corpse really never even left the grave back in the day. And then eventually it became like, no, now they're getting out of their graves and coming to suck blood and everything and sharp teeth. That kind of got by Bram Stoker's Dracula and everything. That's kind of what made that a thing.
Right.
But the story goes as this. Late one night in 1776, there was a well-off farmer with the name of Stuckley. One night, the father of 14 had a disturbing dream in which half the trees in his orchard began to wither away and die as they bared black fruit right in front of his eyes. This dream would revisit Stuckley over the next few days, coinciding with his eldest daughter, Sarah, becoming abruptly ill with consumption, now known as tuberculosis. Shortly after Sarah's burial, the health of another daughter began to diminish, just like her elder sisters, but this daughter claimed every night she was being visited by none other than her deceased sister, who would climb upon her, causing her extreme pain at night by laying on her chest at night.
Well, that would suck.
Yeah.
Well, and like that, like a lot of people, like nowadays, a lot of people would say, like with a heavy chest,
Right.
and something like that at night would be, my brain's not going to work right now because I'm recording.
Come on. Spit it out.
Come on. I'm not going to be able to do it because
Do you hear that? Is that the DeLorean getting fueled up?
No. Come on.
Like sleep paralysis?
There you go.
You're
Sleep
welcome.
paralysis.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Yeah, sleep paralysis is what a lot of people would associate it to this day. Seeing something in your wake, like you're barely awake at night, seeing something, putting pressure on your chest because you can't seemingly move.
See,
People would say that.
my problem is I can see Bobby putting the pillow on my face. I mean, Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Shortly after his second daughter passed away, more and more of Stuckley's children would pass in the same manner. But the real panic began to set in when Stuckley's own wife and his eldest son started to claim that they were also being visited by Sarah at night. With just short of half of his family dead, Stuckley realized his dream about his crops wasn't a dream at all, but a prophecy or a premonition about the dark forces taking half his family away. At this point, Stuckley and all of his neighbors turned their suspicions to the undead. His neighbors rallied together and they pressured the family into exhuming the corpses of all 6 of his deceased children to look for signs of vampirism at work.
Ew.
And at this point in time, this was completely legal because they're in a small town. This is technically considered heathenistic area, even though like we're getting close to the creation of the automobile. Like towns like Exeter that are farther away from like bigger cities and communities, most of them weren't like practicing normal Christianity, and they would operate off of town elders. So exhuming the graves was completely legal. As they examined and dug up the graves of the corpses one by one, everything seemed to be normal. That is until they got to Sarah's grave. The first child to die, her body was seemingly preserved unlike her siblings who died after her. The girl's eyes were open and her nails and hair had grown. Upon tearing open her chest, they found fresh blood in the girl's heart.
Oh.
Back then, this is, to the town folks, this provided pure fact that Sarah was in fact killing off all of her siblings. To end this threat, they cut out the heart and burned it on a rock right by her grave. They reburied all the children, and Stuckley's wife seemed to miraculously recover. But his son, being too far gone with the consumption, succumbed to his illness and was the 7th child to perish, bringing completion to the father's premonition of losing half of his crops.
Oh, wow.
They had 14 children?
14 kids, man. People bred like crazy back in the day, man, because like you got to think how many kids would die and then how much help you need around the farm. Free labor.
True. And I was just thinking they didn't have Netflix to stream, so what else was there to do?
Yeah, no TV.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was their entertainment.
But yeah, he dreamt that he lost half his crops. If his wife would have perished, it would have been more than half, but she managed to pull through. But his son, being young, didn't make it. So like some people weigh it into like, no, it fulfilled his premonition. Other people lean towards, well, of course the adult could pull through. She's been around longer, has a better immune system compared to the small child that hadn't been around that long. So another tragic tale in Exeter was the Young family. Levi and his wife Anna had a bountiful farm that made tons of profit back in the day, growing native corn, potatoes, onions, while Anna made preserves out of blackberries that were renowned throughout the town and even other townships. Their oldest daughter, Nancy, who was 19, ran the farms, financial books, basically was their accountant. Until in 1827, she fell ill with consumption, and she laid ill in her bed. She couldn't get up and around anymore, so her younger sister took over her job as the accounting for Nancy. Unfortunately, in April of 1827, Nancy died of her affliction. Not too long after that, Nancy's younger sister, Elmira, became ill, but at a much like slower pace. She there's as far as tuberculosis goes, there's like your normal slow burn tuberculosis, and then there's your galloping tuberculosis. And unfortunately, with Anna's case, or not Anna's case, her older sister's case, Nancy, she had the galloping consumption, so she died relatively quick. This is stuff that they wouldn't know about at the time, but later on, as you know, science and healthcare and everything advanced, we would learn about these things.
I would think that with tuberculosis, though, that's got to almost be a blessing in disguise to have the fast run of it.
Yeah, it's because back then, like if you got it, like the chances of you surviving was next to none. And like we said, like it was a really slow burn disease, which ended up with, like, not to get gross or anything, but ended up with you basically coughing up your lungs because it just like they started like schlepping off in there and everything. So Levi called upon all the best doctors, trying his best to not lose another daughter, but none of the doctors could beat the strange illness. One day, upon checking on his daughter, she told her father that her sister Nancy had visited her in the night, depicting her sister as so pale that she almost glowed, as if she was an angel. She said that Nancy told her that soon her pain would go away and she would be with Nancy again. At this point, Levi abandons conventional medicine and begins to lean into the folklore of evil spirits. He went to the town elders and presented them with the case, and to his surprise, the elders agreed with him instantly. They said that it was foul play of evil creatures, and the vampires must be driven out to save his family, because they said that soon as they were done claiming his youngest daughter, that they would move on to his other children.
Right.
A group of town folks accompanied Levi to the young graveyard. The group was led by the elder Nathan Doc Lennox. I'd like to note that Doc was not a real doctor, but a self-proclaimed doctor of folklore.
Kind of like one of the Seven Dwarfs guy.
Yeah, basically. As most of the group gathered the young family in the woods, or to bring them to the woods, the other amount of townspeople were gathering wood for a giant pyre. Levi alone took it upon himself to exhume his own daughter, and according to local papers, the man refused to let other people help him as he carried his daughter from her grave to the pyre. He said he wanted to carry her one last time. Once they got to the pyre, he threw her on. They burned her corpse up, while they made sure that the town and the young family members stood around to purposely inhale the fumes to get rid of the ailment. Now, this goes without saying, but sick children with tuberculosis probably shouldn't be inhaling a copious amount of smoke.
True.
And especially burning, rotting corpses, I would think would be
awful.
This does not help whatsoever with any kind of lung ailment. But shortly after, unfortunately, Elmira still died, and in the following years, the Youngs would lose several more children to the same disease. So
did they also proclaim that they saw one of their siblings come to them?
None of the other young children ever said anything about having a family member visit them.
Right on.
But they basically lost all their kids in the coming years, but both the parents were fine. So I imagine that's got to be pretty bitter, especially since you and the town gathered around and dug up your firstborn kid to go burn her in order to save the other children, and it didn't pan out.
Yeah.
So I as a father, I couldn't imagine anybody convincing me to dig up my kid, let alone doing it and for no reason whatsoever. But like I
Well,
said,
just the thought of losing a single child, let alone, I mean, that would be damaging right there in itself too. Is
yeah.
But if you had a chance to save one of your other children by doing that, I think that would be something that you would really consider.
So this was the same town, right, as
Yep.
the other family. Was this after that family? Is that
Yeah,
why
it
the
was-
elders were like, yes, we're doing this?
Yes, it was after. It was a couple years after, but
Okay.
it was definitely after. And like I
Okay.
said, this is actually that town is actually where Mercy Brown's from too. And Mercy Brown is almost like the last case that I was talking about was in 17 something. Mercy Brown's case is in 1892, so
Oh, wow.
quite a bit of time after. So that town, it's like I was saying earlier, it's these towns that were farther away from the cities and like all this other stuff. They kind of did their own thing back in the day, because around the time that the Mercy Brown stuff's happening, we already have our first automobile. Ford's already made the first vehicle, and people don't really associate. Like, I imagine as I'm talking about this, listeners are thinking, oh, this is way back. But like I said, this is right when we have working electricity in cities. We have the first automobiles coming out, and we still have towns in the United States that are digging up corpses to kill vampires. It's just
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no, they're so far removed from each other that it's night and day difference. Because like these things would get out in newspapers, and then they would go to big cities like New York and Boston and stuff like this, and they would basically just like be newspaper articles poking fun at these heathenistic farming communities. Yeah,
Yeah.
just being like, oh, can you believe this? This mourning family dug up their kid to try to save another kid, and just which is, it's just awful to think that they're getting blasted like that in newspapers and stuff, because like you were saying earlier, back then, especially with not knowing, like not having medicines and cures and everything, these practices, like killing a vampire, was their idea of medicine. They're like, this is how I'm going to save this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then to get made fun of for it after you've already gone through the traumatic process of having to dig up one of your children in order to try to save your others, and then still lose those kids, is it's just salt to the wound, really.
Right, for sure. So does this town still exist today?
Yeah, it's still out there. You can the first graveyard I was talking about is you can go out there and visit it. The tombs, the graves are so old where rain has basically beaten any kind of names off of them at this point. So you can't like go pick out exactly where this person was buried, but they're all still out there.
Nobody made a map of that. Nobody actually has the town doesn't have a document saying which plot belonged to who.
Well, back then, a lot of the graveyards were family owned.
Family, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's on the property. You bury your family on the property. So like they didn't think to be like, oh, I'm going to map this out, because then the person that's burying them's head, it's like, I'll know where it's at because this is my family member.
Right.
And eventually gets lost with time and everything. So there's no real telling at this point. So these were some of the first documented cases in vampires in New England, and were likely the catalyst for what is now known as New England vampire panic, which most of the cases came from the same town, but New England as a whole had tons of cases just like this. These were just the more documented, like I was saying before. They ended up in newspapers and everything like that.
Right.
There are many cases I could dive into, but I'm going to be telling you the most famous one, and that is the tale of Mercy Brown, the supposed inspiration behind Bram Stoker's Dracula and other pop culture vampires, such as stories like The Interview with the Vampire, which I've only seen Interview with the Vampire once. Great movie. Only seen it once. So I cannot for the life of me remember who the little girl's name was in that movie. I know the actor was Kirsten Dunst, right? But I can't remember the name of the character. But her character was based on Mercy Brown.
Oh.
So this is back in Rhode Island again. This is also in the town of Exeter, but this is in 1892. This is the most renowned case of human See, this is where I'm gonna fuck up a word.
Oh, she's looking at you.
Of a corpse to perform ritual banishment of the undead.
What was that word again?
Exhumation. Exhumation. They dug her up.
They exhumed her. There.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. She's staring you down right now, buddy.
Once again, this tale is similar to the one of the family plagued by consumption. Also in the town of Exeter, Georgia Mary Brown's family had been rattled by several cases of disease. Mother Mary Eliza was the first to pass. Shortly after, their eldest daughter, Mary Olive, died in 1884. Then in 1891, daughter Mercy and son Edwin contracted the disease. Mercy had galloping consumption, or galloping tuberculosis, and she died abruptly. She basically got diagnosed and she was dead in like 3 months. Edwin had the disease and was going at a much slower rate. After this amount of loss in a short time, seemingly only plaguing one family, friends and neighbors began to suspect that one of the family members might be a vampire and that they planned to finish off Edwin next. The neighbors at this point basically forced the poor father to approve the exhuming of his family's graves, and he did, begrudgingly. He didn't want to, but at this point it was mob mentality. He didn't have a choice. They also had the town's doctor agreed to overlook the procedure. He did not want to. He referred to all the townspeople as heathens, but he wanted to make sure the bodies were treated with as much respect as possible. This took place in 1892. Fuck, if that happened in 1992, that'd be rough. His wife and eldest daughter showed the normal signs of I'm just gonna say decomp. I'm gonna mess up the word otherwise.
Decomposition?
Yeah, there you go. Decomposition. But Mercy showed almost no signs of decomposing, and her heart and liver were still full of blood. This was all the town needed to claim that the girl was a vampire, clearly overlooking the fact that the girl died in the freezing month of January in Rhode Island, when the ground was so frozen they could not dig her grave at the time. So they stored her in an above-ground crypt in the winter, which basically acted like a refrigerator, holding back the effects of decomposition.
Good job. Nice.
In mid-March, they had just finally been able to break ground and bury the girl. So basically, she had been in a refrigerator for months. So, of course, she's not going to show the signs that you would want, but They weren't thinking about that. The townspeople then tore out and burned Mercy's heart and liver and mixed the ashes with water and had Mercy's brother Edwin drink it.
Ew.
Yep.
Gross.
An attempt to cure the boy. 2 months
Kool-Aid?
later, it's
Kool-Aid powder?
That's not a flavor of Kool-Aid I'd want, man. This is like, that sounds like horrible, but back then they made ash cake out of cremated relatives for the family to eat at funerals.
Oh,
So this wasn't like disgusting to them. Nowadays, like it's pseudo cannibalism to us.
yeah.
I don't even want to know what. But unfortunately, after drinking the tonic, Edwin died 2 months later. Leaving behind his father, who never contracted the disease. He lived until 1922, just long enough to witness the cure for tuberculosis.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, those are my cases of it's a different case of vampires. But all three happened in the same town. And those are just three of them, because if you look up New England vampire panic, there is a giant list of what are considered victims, even though they were already dead, being dug up and horrible things happening to their bodies in order to prevent stuff. And it seemingly never worked. Out of all three of these cases I told, only one person seemed to pull through, and that was a mother. All the kids still passed that had it. So,
Wow.
So
go ahead.
this almost kind of plays into the Rocker Chick's last episode, with kind of if except a little bit different. Obviously, they saw the ghosts of their siblings come back and basically kind of drain them, whereas hers was a stranger who came through that kind of drained his energy.
Yeah. And like, you know how vampires are depicted as being like pale, but like handsome or attractive?
Yeah, I know that's I get accused of being a vampire all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Blush was actually created back in Wild West times because people wanted the look of consumption. Because when you had that disease, you became pale, but your cheeks were flush with blood.
Oh.
So you had red cheeks. So people wanted that look without, dying slowly. So they started to mimic it. And so I think a lot of like tales of vampires and stuff are associated with tuberculosis and consumption. So in their eyes, they're like, oh, their faces are so pale, but they're so pretty. Kind of all falls into the same line. Even with Rocker Chick's tale, this was a guy that traveled constantly and probably had a better immune system. So if you're looking at it the skeptic side, it could be said that he had possibly had consumption or tuberculosis. And it just made him look more appealing and everything. But, he met this young kid and spent all this time with this kid, not to mention kissing the kid on the mouth, which big old red flag, which dad was definitely just like, no, he's cool. He likes books too. You can kiss my son on the mouth. That's fine. So like, he wasn't kissing the daughter on the mouth as far as we knew, or the dad, as far as we knew. Whatever they did in the library is their business.
That's true. They were together a lot alone.
Yeah. But the kid passed away. And like, I just something hinky was going on there because like, even if the guy wasn't a vampire, he sure did split when that kid was dead. So
Yeah.
Huh.
But there's tons of cases out in that area. There's actually one case that like, I think was in the 1900s where they found, it was actually sooner than later. It was, I think y'all might've been alive when it happened. I don't know about me.
Oh,
but there was
he just called you old, Jen.
There was a bunch of kids that found a skull out there. And then upon those kids find the skull got dated. And they're like, no, this wasn't a recent murder. This skull's over like 200 years old. And upon looking that area, they found a whole family cemetery that was hidden, buried away. And so they exhumed all the graves. And when they exhumed one of the graves, one of the coffins were red and had initials put on the front and an X on the front. And when they dug up that grave, the body had been decapitated. The chest bones had been cut open and removed. The head was put in the chest with two arm bones in the shape of like basically a Jolly Roger, skull and crossbones. And then upon doing research, they found out what family it was. And that was another case of vampirism. That body was basically said it was a vampire. But by the time that they did it, the body was so decomposed and that there was no heart. So they had to go about it a different way. And they're like, okay, well, he can still get them, but we don't have a heart to burn. So what we have to do is cut off his head, put it in his rib cage. And the X was basically put where his heart was because that was supposed to entrap the spirit down there. And that poor dude's body still hasn't been reunited. They reburied all of his family that was buried out there. His ass is still in a museum.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he doesn't get to go rest with his family. So his body has been technically desecrated twice now.
Wow.
Rude.
Don't desecrate my body.
Okay.
I just don't mix my ashes with water or Nesquik or eat it in a cake. That's all I'm asking.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be some Kool-Aid, baby.
That cannot taste good.
They're gonna play naked Jenga on yours.
No,
that's fine.
out.
That's fine. Just don't eat me. That's all I ask. But yeah, that's my case. I went the TB route with mine.
Nice.
As I said, back then people panicked. Like they didn't have a cure. They didn't know exactly what was killing their family. And when family members stop dropping, people get squirrely. And you'll do whatever you can do to try to save somebody. And then you have to live with it afterwards. Unfortunately, I wish that would have worked out for those families more. I wish it would have saved some people or anything, because like I said, now those parents have to live with knowing what they did, and it didn't help nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and back to what I said before about the fact that, losing a child, period, is not something that you take lightly, let alone losing 7 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I can't even imagine what that would be like, and the depression and all that. What's going on over there? These two, Logan, I'm telling you right now, these two, they keep me on my toes.
Leave them alone. I'm just saying, like,
Start.
if it was like 5 years ago, we didn't have the fear that they had, because like back in the day, if somebody coughed, everybody would like look at them sideways and be like, "Oh shit."
Oh shit! I did that in 2020 in the mire.
I was that was 5. I said 5 years ago we didn't have that, but we went through a pandemic, so now we kind of have a feeling of like the fear of like somebody cough and then you just look at them like, "Where the fuck you been?" Except like back then they didn't have nothing but their neighbors and stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, man. It's hard to think about. Like the closest I can like even relate to that is like back when we were in Atwood, we'd get to go visit the one room schoolhouse that they had out there, and then they would make us do a week of like New Frontier fucking schooling, where they're like, "Let's come sit in this unair conditioned 1 room building and do your schooling and get an idea what it was like in the pioneer times," and it was ass.
Well, I know I did in elementary school. Did your class go to the fort in Fort Wayne for a field trip? Did you?
Yeah.
You went to? You never went?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But again, Atwood schooling, like we could barely afford to go to the zoo. So.
That's true. Yeah, you guys had a gym that was a weird shape too. So,
don't be shaming people over weird shapes, man.
The fort was that way, where you had to walk over. It was the ladder. It was steps that went over top of the actual wall or whatever. But once you got inside, you kind of felt like you were in olden times or whatever. But
yeah.
Spring Mill is that way too. If you go back down there, it's to the mill itself. You can walk around and there's people in there still running fires and doing blacksmithing stuff and old stuff like that, which is kind of cool. But I can't imagine having to do a whole class in a little 1 room.
It was for a week, man. They bus us out there every day.
Jeez.
It definitely taught me something. I was like, I appreciated my air conditioned classroom for one, but like, and also you get away with a lot less when everybody's just in one small ass room.
Now think about that. Because now, what was the size of your class that went there? Because it probably wasn't very big, was it?
No, I had in my 3rd grade class, I had all of 8 kids in Atwood.
Yeah.
So
wow.
It was. Like I said, that yearbook is a sad ass yearbook. Right? There's a reason that place closed down, because they're like, I don't know, should we keep this open for 27 kids total? I'm like,
yeah,
probably not.
So now think of your one class in that 1 room, and now think of 14 kids and a mom and dad living in something probably just a hint bit bigger, but probably not by much.
Yeah, and I imagine there was a lot less getting new kids and a lot more having less kids. You'd be like, "Where's Timmy?" And be like, "Oh, he got the TB," and it's like, "Oh, okay."
Okay, all right. Well, that's who gets his slice of chicken tonight.
Yeah, basically. But yeah,
that's terrible.
Yeah, well, it's just like, if these are the cases that got reported and we get to know about now, just think about all the ones that didn't. Towns that didn't have newspapers or reporters in it, and like the crazy shit that probably happened in all these other small towns that just didn't get reported on.
Right.
Like, I imagine there was way more cases of like what now would be considered like ritualistic, I don't want to say sacrifice because people are already dead, but like just rituals happening all throughout the United States in a time where, like I said, we already had electricity. And like I said, a lot of people, when this stuff comes to mind, they think like, oh, this was back in the day before lights and this and that. And be like, this stuff was going on a lot longer than you thought. And I'm sure, I know for me, in Houston, I talked to Golden Jay about this. It was one of the things I originally wanted to report on, but then I was like, I live barely an hour and 30 minutes away from Houston. I don't necessarily want to make people angry that might find me. There is one of the biggest vampire communities in the United States that lives in Houston. And they have balls and they rent out whole hotels and like, so they have money.
Not
And
balls like balls.
Yes,
Yeah.
like-
They got
Not
balls.
like
They have
balls.
like
They have
walrus
balls and
dancing. Yeah.
balls. Scared they're
no.
gonna come after
Yeah.
him.
And I was like, maybe I shouldn't do a thing on these people because like they have money and they're only an hour and 30 minutes away. The vampires might find me. Yeah. And,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, I wouldn't tell them your exact address or anything. I
Well,
promise.
no, but they got money. They can find out where I live. I've
Yeah.
name dropped so many things throughout the podcast. They can find me. They're like, he's in this area. We'll get him. But there are people that are fully convinced that they are vampires and they legitimately drink blood. And they have like high up, like people in the community that you wouldn't think of. The amount of people that are like high up dentists that are in vampire communities is creepy. And they're like he's a great addition to our vampire clan because he's a master level dentist, so he's a master level fangsmith, and he's just sitting there
Mhm.
drilling out human teeth to be fangs. And they're like, this is great for biting into blah blah, like actual the storage units they use for blood, like the bags, like they drink from those and not like through the straw part. They bite into them like a fucked up Capri Sun.
Yeah.
and like I know like if it's like that blood's been tested and whatnot, but still like
Yeah.
that goes back to your homegirl that you reported on, Jeremy. Like just like drinking oodles and oodles of human blood, your iron has got to be through the roof.
That takes 28 people to fill a bathtub.
I'm surprised she started drinking like homeless back then because like there's so many diseases back then, and she was risking it on the dirty folk when she was basically royalty.
Uh-huh.
She was rolling some dice there. The fact that she lived as long as she did is impressive.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, that's it. But you know, she might have had a mental illness to begin with. So
Might
I mean,
have.
well, you know, it wasn't a scientific fact that she was mentally ill. It's just,
No,
we just kind of look at it.
I'm pretty sure generations and generations of inbreeding is enough. Like
Well, she was
To know
she
that-
was born that way. She
Yeah,
was
to
raised that
know-
way to be that way.
to know
Yeah.
her chromosomes were all muffed up there. So
Her DNA was one strand.
yeah, exactly. So you know, like unfortunately, she got dealt a raw hand in genetics there. So still a shit person though.
I don't know, man. This whole month has been very interesting to kind of go through all of these stories and, you know, the different avenues of what we might consider to be a vampire. I mean, you know, Bethany never actually, you know, drank blood out of a person. She drank it out of a mug.
As
Said,
far as you know,
I heart blood on it. I mean, sure, she had a specialty mug. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it did. I think at one point I did state that she did bite the
Yeah.
flesh off of a couple different people, but
I don't even want to think about the texture. That just gives me the Wiggins.
well, just think about I don't know, pigskin. If you were just to bite into
No,
pigskin,
no,
No thanks.
it would probably be
Unless
the
it's
same.
unless it's fried in a bag labeled pork rinds. I'm good.
Oh, I love me some pork rinds, baby. Watch out! Oh, right now.
Oh, yeah. Like you're saying, vampires as a whole, there's so much lore. And it even goes back to the rocker chick's question of like what animals are associated with vampires turning into. There's so much lore throughout time, and like there's actual traces to being the first case of vampirism is tied to vampire cows. There was a man that lived out somewhere out in Europe. I can't remember exactly. And he was one of the first people to claim that he was assaulted by a vampire. And he was worried about being turned into one. So they suggested that he dig up the grave of the supposed vampire, cut off his head, and cover himself in the blood of the vampire. And the town's like, it was half and half. Half the townspeople were like, yep, you're cured. And the other half was like, no, you smeared his blood all over you. That just completes the ritual. You're a vampire now. And so when this dude died, he was a cattle farmer. and people, were like, he's dead. Let's eat his cows. And so tuberculosis hits this community and people start dying and they're like, oh, we messed up. Clearly, he was a vampire. He was feeding on these cows and we just ate a bunch of vampire cows. Now people in our town are vampires. We don't know who's the vampire, and that's why we're all dying. And that was one of the first cases in America where they were like, this is vampires, and it was all because of supposed vampire cows.
Vampire cows.
Vampire cows.
It reminds me of the book from when I was a kid, Bunicula, which was the vampire bunny.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. I remember that book.
I can't forget about it. Bunicula and Hank the cow dog haunt my dreams.
Rent free in his brain forever.
For the rest of forever. So vampires are everywhere, man. Like from vampire cows to the sparkling Cullens to Vampire Diaries and Buffy and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, the Vampire Diaries. Oh my. What's the other one you guys like? The
originals.
The originals, yeah.
Listen, if you want sexy shirtless people, you go to the CW a few years ago. That's where you went for it. This is the handsome man department right there. That's where Jensen Ackles lived.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a handsome dude right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen. I'm gonna get a haircut.
Don't fight it.
And look like
Don't
him.
fight it. Yeah, don't fight it, Golden Jay. It's just
I
fact.
can't fight it. It's number 1 on her hall pass list. You know that to be a fact.
It's number 1 on my hall pass list too. That's a handsome dude, and he's short too. For a short guy to be that handsome,
But you can't be handsome if you're short.
it's a little harder. It's a little harder for men. It is a little bit harder.
Okay, I'll remember that.
But yeah, that was my story.
Nice job.
It's good.
Yes. Very
Nice
good.
job.
I gotta get a little less rusty. It's been a while.
It has been a minute since you've done an actual research and presentation.
I
You
think
did
it
a good
was-
job, man. It was good.
I think my last one was a Ghost Train. I think that was it.
Oh man, does it go back to that?
Yeah, I think so. It was Spectre Moose and Ghost Train.
Right on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the old episodes now, the archives of,
Yeah.
of United States Paranormal.
It's hard to believe. It's almost been 2 years of this stuff.
We were. I was just talking to the Skywalker. The Court of Books and Booze is about to hit their 1-year mark. Can you believe that?
Nice.
Wow.
I'll have to tune in for them when they do Goosebumps because I can handle Goosebumps. I can't read big books.
I thought you'd be all about milk and cookies.
No, I listen to Milk and Cookies because I can read those books. I don't have the attention span for a series of books that are like this big and that go for like the closest thing to that is I read Odd Thomas, the series by Dean Koontz years and years ago. And I read all those, but that's as close as I get to it.
I actually cheated and did the entire Throne of Glass series on Audible.
That's not cheating.
There
That's
ain't no
fair.
way I'm reading that
That's
quickly.
That's not cheating. That's fair.
It was actually a very good series. I mean, I enjoyed it completely.
I think Audible all depends on like who is your narrator. Because I just have a hard time listening to books where it's a guy voicing like women character and he doesn't even change his voice at all. Because when you're reading in your head, like your head does like different voices for you, and then meanwhile you got this guy be like, "Hi, I'm Barbara, and I think you're super attractive," and you're just like,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's just
Or
weird.
you can even flip that on the other side when it's a female voice reading and then she does a male voice and she's like, "Hey,
hello there. How are you today?"
Hi,
You should get
Barbara. You want to go to my room?"
You should get into Audible, J-Dub. You did a good job there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hit me with a British accent.
Please, sir. Want some more?
It's all
That's
the
nice.
same
I like
voice.
that. I like that.
Ugh.
Well, just so you guys know, we're going to release these next 2 episodes. Today's episode is going to be on YouTube, full video, so you get to see everybody, and you can watch Jen just rock away.
I have to. I have ADHD.
But also notice that Jen is wearing her brand new Vamptober t-shirt. It looks good in person, let me tell you. where you can also have a kick-ass Vamptober t-shirt. Just go to the United States of Paranormal.com, click on the merch button, and it's all right there.
Easy
Yeah.
peasy.
It is easy peasy. And you heard Golden Jay, like he wants a fancy mausoleum.
I do. And I need you guys to buy more merch so I can afford this fancy mausoleum.
Yeah. Yeah. So come on. I just noticed that there is a creepy ass peekaboo doll sitting next to Jay.
You like that?
I know. I keep
Not even
looking
a
at
little
him
bit.
up there.
But listen, if you guys watch on YouTube, you can see the creepy peekaboo doll, or you can see my fancy Halloween.
I love the
Yeah.
Halloween. Yeah. I love the trick-or-treat doll back there. That What is his name?
That's Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
And I made this tombstone, which I learned from my parents and Golden Jay and Aunt Bobby. Back in the day, they made tombstones. I also got my Frankenberry croc sitting right here.
Yay!
Ah,
Nice.
And
I did not
my
even notice them.
my Halloween 3 action figures, because it's awesome. And I got my little Ouija board pop figure guy.
Nice.
And then I got Frankenberry sitting over there. So,
Hey, do you want the story on the peekaboo doll over there?
is it because of that house and that's near town that has the 2 creepy ass peekaboo dolls?
No. And you know what breaks my heart? The lady who lived there passed away. So the peekaboo dolls are it's a done. Yep.
Yep. Not in the window anymore.
Yeah.
Man. Like, so, I mean, assuming family didn't get her house then?
I don't think anybody wanted to keep with the tradition of putting the girls out and dressing them up and doing all that.
I'd buy that house and I'd keep up the tradition. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I thought about it for a second and then I thought that sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but we drove up there a couple weeks ago and we noticed that they weren't in there. So I didn't wave. I would wave at the girls every time I went by.
Yeah, you got to appease them so they don't come to your house.
Yeah. Now you know what happened at the other house. You never waved at the little girls.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about
okay,
anyway.
fair enough.
So
Fair enough. No, the peekaboo doll is actually been there since Dolltober.
Oh, it needs to go away then.
The rocker chick brought that out just to fuck with Alicia.
That's
his
hilarious.
booty's hanging out.
Oh yeah, you got to have a little booty boot. Get boom, boom, boom.
Dolltober, dead and gone.
I love Dolltober. I love Vamptober. We're having a blast with these things.
Booty juice and Hootios.
And you better start thinking about what you're going to do next year because it is hard to rhyme things with Tober.
I already got
They
it worked
sound
out. I already got it in my head. I'll run
nice.
it by you later.
Nice. I was wearing my Dolltober shirt the other day while I was out and about.
Yeah.
I've got the Dolltober shirt and then I got the Poor Brothers Brewery shirt, which Poor Brothers Brewery is also dead. So
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, I strutted into fucking Meyer the other day, like wearing my Golden J United States of Paranormal t-shirt, like I was actually fucking Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift on my arm.
I just need to grow the mullet back out. And, it'll be fine.
Dude,
He's working on it.
it is
There you
weird.
go.
Look, we're so close.
Listen, I firmly believe in grow it while you got it.
Well,
Why not?
believe me, I have some long, luscious hair right now.
Mine's Kayla braids mine because I don't know how to braid. Mine stays in a braid. I keep my side shaved because I don't know how ladies do it with the long sides that always sticks out. It drives me insane.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. That's why I wear a hat.
That's
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Like I said, go check out the United States of Paranormal.com. Go check out the merch store. Vamptober merch is up, and it's only gonna be up until Halloween, October 31st. It is coming down. So get in there. Get yourself a beanie, a poster, a t-shirt. That fucking hoodie is off the hook. So get in there and check it out. And if you like something, please send an order
And-
our way.
Anything ribbed?
And we might have a ribbed.
For your pleasure.
Where is my list of
I could have. I want
lost
to
it.
note that I could have deleted rib out of the fucking item listing, but I was like, no,
Nah.
no.
A
It's
ribbed knit beanie. That's
Yeah.
what it's called.
Nice.
Yeah.
So listen, get you a rib knit beanie of Vamptober, and while you're at it, buy the other side t-shirt because why wouldn't you? It's nice.
And
Every
of
time
course
you look
you
at
can,
it, you'll think of Logan.
Listen, well, that's a sales pitch I'm going to have to cut out.
Listen, I hear my voice is soothing. I got an email.
I've heard that. Yes, absolutely.
Don't get it. Not even a little bit. I don't like hearing my own voice. I don't get how other people want to.
I'll tell you what, she has been an amazing listener, and I hope she's enjoying Vamptober. She emails all the time. She likes all of our posts. She comments on our posts.
How do you say her name?
Yahira.
Yahira.
Say it again.
Say it again.
Yahira. Let me tell you, you would look great in some United States Paranormal merch.
Ooh, good job.
Hey.
Good job.
Say her name one more time.
Yahira.
There you go. Boom. Sold. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for listening to Vamptober. We hope you guys have enjoyed the month. And don't forget that on Halloween Day, we're going to have a special chiller filler. I'm sorry. We're going to have a special chiller filler.
Listen,
Yes.
you have the guy here that does the voice.
Okay, go ahead.
The voice hurts, by the way. I don't recommend doing it for a long time. I don't know if I can. I might be, too hydrated to do this.
Listen, he built himself up. to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I did. It's a false bill.
Don't be a puss.
It's a false bill of sales. There's the all new United States of Paranormal chiller filler.
There you go.
It hurts.
Oh.
You want to cough every time you do it?
That's why I don't do the whole thing. I just do chiller.
And before chiller filler, you will have the other side, where you can come listen to me and Golden Jay talk for 2 hours about God knows what and all the cases in the previous month.
It's true. It's true.
Nice.
We are going to have a special guest on this month's other side, so tune in.
Yeah, it's Ozzy Osbourne. So
Oh,
go listen.
hey.
Go check it out.
Sharon!
His daughter looks younger now than she did when the Osbournes was happening.
She looked
Absolutely.
good. You see her in Jack's special?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did.
talk about vampires. Somebody needs to be looking into Kelly Osbourne.
It's true.
Just saying.
It's called
Homegirl
plastic
looks-
surgery.
Yeah. Well, Sharon's, I think,
Mine
didn't
was
come
more
out right, but-
spooky, J-Dub.
All right, guys, we're out. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you on the other side.
Keep it spooky.
Bye.
There you go.
Thank you for listening to the United States of Paranormal. Check us out at theunitedstatesofparanormal.com or at any other of our social media pages. At Twitter at TOSOPPOD, at Instagram at the United States of Paranormal, or Facebook at the United States of Paranormal, or YouTube at the United States of Paranormal 1795.
Please check out our other podcasts in the Golden Mojo Entertainment Network. The Call Guys, Golden Image Podcast, Indiana Chiefs Fans, The Golden 80s, Murd Nerds, and A Quart of Books and Booze.
And if you have a location you would like us to check into or a creepy story that you would love to tell us, please email us at theunitedstatesofparanormal@gmail.com. Please like, rate, and subscribe wherever you listen.